In this video, we are going to talk about searching for a substring within a string. That's something you also may want to do often. For example, you have a string with certain names, and then you want to search if a name is existent in that string. So in this case, we're going to look at multiple methods of achieving that, most of which do the same thing, but in a different way. In some cases, some methods are better. In other cases, others are better. I'm going to teach you the most popular and most used ones so that you can learn them all and apply them in the situation which you find yourself in. First one on our list is called index of. It looks for the substring in a string starting from a given position. So first of all, let's explore how it works. We're going to use the same string for all of the method testings. So we're going to create a string called hobbies. And then in there, I'm going to say I love, and then we can put HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, just like that, and save it. Now with the index of, let's say that we want to find if JavaScript is mentioned in the hobbies string. To do that, we're going to write hobbies and then call the index of method on it, just like that. One really useful thing I want to teach you guys is that you can hover over the method or over something in Visual Studio Code, which is going to tell you a lot of useful information about it. For example, if you hover over the hobbies, it says that's the string right there. Not that useful because we can see it right there. But imagine if you had a file with 100 lines, it was down below. Now, if you hovered over it, that would be pretty useful, right? Okay, let's get it back. But the second useful thing is if you hover over the index of. In here, you can see that it is a method that we can call on a string. And the first thing that we need to specify is the search string and then the position. And then it returns a number, but we'll explore that in action. But the most important thing is this explanation here. It returns the position of the first occurrence of a substring. And it also tells you what params is it expecting. The first parameter being the search string, the substring to search for in the string, and the position, the index at which to begin searching the string object. If omitted, search starts from the beginning of the string. Great. This is pretty useful. I'm going to copy all of this and paste it below, just so you have that in mind while we are creating or using our index of. Just for this to be more visible, I'm going to spread it into multiple lines, just like that. Great. So we want to find out if hobbies include the word JavaScript. So that's why we're going to put in the first substring, which is going to be a string of JavaScript. If we reference to our param here, the substring to search for in the string. That's exactly what we want. We want to search for JavaScript in the hobby string. And we can just save that. And now let's store that in a variable so we can console log it. So we're going to say cons index. And then now we can console log it. Console log index. Okay, great. Now we get 21. What does that mean? 21 means that it is found on the 21st position right there. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Right there, after that, we have our JavaScript keyword. It is found, so that's why we returned 21. This method might be useful if you want to find the index of the substring in a certain string, therefore the name index of. Great. We can also specify the starting position so that we can start searching from 0 right there. If you don't specify anything, it immediately thinks that you're starting from 0 so that you want the whole string. If we said start from 22, then this is not gonna work. You can see we get -1 there because it cannot find JavaScript after the index of 22. But why did it return -1? Well, let's try searching for something that doesn't exist. For example, let's say React here. If we search for React, we get -1. -1 means that there is no React substring in the hobby string. Therefore, it cannot find the starting index of it, and therefore it returns -1. Great. Now let's explore the second one, which is called last index of. Just like that. This needs to be capitalized, and let's see how does it work. We can also use it on the same string, And what would happen if we try doing the same thing? So I'm gonna copy this thing, and instead of index of, I'm gonna call last index of and pass in React. I have to comment this out, of course, and then write a console log where we console log the index. Now we get -1 because React doesn't exist. But if we try with JavaScript, we get the same thing as we did before because JavaScript is mentioned only 1 on the 21st position. But if we say JavaScript, comma, JavaScript, and now run this, you can see we get 33. We're gonna change this to first index. And this one is gonna be last index. We're going to make them both search for the same substring of JavaScript. And now let's console log the first index and also the last index. As you might assumed, we get 21 and 33 because JavaScript is first mentioned in the position of 21, but it's last mentioned in the position of 33. But this is not all that useful, right? We could get the -1 if the string doesn't exist, but we most often don't want to do anything with 21, 33. Why do we need to have a number, right? We only want to know if the string is included in there or not. So much more often, you're just interested if a string contains something and you're not concerned where is it in the string. For these cases, you can use a method called includes. Includes method simply returns a true or false, just a simple boolean. And this is how you use includes. Hobbies.includes, and then you specify a string you want to look for, JavaScript. Now, if you think about it, this is so much more intuitive. Hobbies includes JavaScript. Do hobbies include the word JavaScript? That's it. And then when you ask yourself, does something or do something, the answer is always going to be yes or no. That means that we can store it in a Boolean value. For example, const includes JavaScript. And now we can console log that Boolean. Console log includes JavaScript. As you can see, now the output is simply true, or if we change it to React, for example, the output is simply false. It's so much simpler. True, false, Boolean value, and then you can do with it anything you want. Okay, and I just want to show you two little short methods called starts with, which are also pretty self-explanatory, and then we have ends with. So starts with and ends with. And how do you use them? Well, we can do something like hobbies that starts with, and then what does it start with? Well, it starts with I, so let's try console logging that. Console log starts with I. If we console log it, we get true. If we change it to love, which is the second word, it's gonna say false. It doesn't start with I, right? But it does start with I love. With this method, we can just check if the string starts with something or it doesn't. Again, we get a really good Boolean value, just true or false. And then I think you can already assume what ends with does. We can also copy and paste it here, call the ends with, and then let's see what does our string end with. Well, it does end with a dot, right? So this is a nice way to check if the string ends with a dot. We get true. Does it also end with JavaScript and then dot? Yeah, it does, right? Because the whole ending string is JavaScript and then dot. That's it. Two really simple methods to use. And that would be it for this video. I want to tell you that this one and this one, as well as these two, you're not going to use them all that much. This includes method in here is going to be your best bet to use whenever you're working with strings, whenever you want to know, does this string include something or not? It is really intuitive, simple to use, and also there's so many use cases for that, so definitely make sure to remember this one.